following Louisville's thrilling, exciting, momentum-creating, season-changing, it felt win at number 2 Miami in South Florida a week ago now. It seemed like the Cardinals had found themselves. It was the cleanest game that they had played on both sides of the ball. It wasn't perfect. Offense still had some strides to make. Defense was pretty close to perfect. So what happens the following week? Boston College comes into L&N Stadium. They're pretty bad, to be nice. 1-6 on the season, 0-4 in the ACC. Louisville, a 25.5-point favorite against the Eagles. All that momentum, all that game-changing feeling, season-changing feeling after their win over the Hurricanes. Where did it go? Where did it go? Louisville wins coin toss. They deferred to the second half. You think maybe a quick 3-and-out? No. Boston College uses 15 plays, over 8 minutes of game time on their first series, end up with a field goal. Louisville comes out. They don't need but a minute and change. Isaac Brown takes off. First play of the game. 73 yards. I'm not sure how they caught up to him. They did, right around the 2-yard line. 2 plays later, Miller Moss punches in for a score. Louisville goes on to win 38-24. It wasn't clean. It wasn't the most efficient. It didn't look like what we were expecting following the Cardinals' win at Miami. What do you say we hike about it? Oh, hey there. So the Louisville offense, they racked up, 504 yards of offense, give or take a yard here or there. That's spectacular. 500 yards of offense, 38 points. You had a running game that accounted for, I think it was 317 of that 500 plus yards. That sounds fantastic. Unless you watch the game, then you're probably yelling at your TV, hope you didn't throw and break anything. Cardinals could just not get out of their own way offensively. Be it a turnover. There weren't too many penalties, but it sure seems like the penalties come at the absolute worst time. Cardinals struggling with some 3-and-outs when they shouldn't struggle with some 3-and-outs. Again, against a Boston College team that entered the game ranked amongst the nation's worst in scoring defense. So coming in, you would think Louisville's going to put up 500 yards. That Louisville's going to score some crazy total. I had Louisville going for over 40, but 38, that's a good number. So just on the surface, that looks like a pretty good game. You get to the post-game press conference, and Miller Moss is the first to talk to us, and the quarterback basically tells on himself. He let us all know what we saw. That was not clean. Jeff Brom comes in. It was not efficient. Isaac Brown and Kewan Brown carried the offense. It was one of those days, it's like, just keep handing it off to either Isaac or Kewan. Good things continue to happen. Isaac Brown, his first play of the game was the first play of Louisville's offensive series in the first quarter. Gets the ball, they're in shotgun, he takes the ball from Miller Moss. He's gone for 73 yards, nearly. Seems like he ran through just about everybody on their defense. They finally catch up to him, bring him down at the 2-yard line. 2 plays later, Miller Moss keeps it, goes forward, gets his 1-yard touchdown. Miller Moss later added a 9-yard touchdown. He now had 6 rushing touchdowns on the season that put him in some pretty rare categories when it comes to Louisville quarterbacks. Isaac Brown, he ended up going for a career-high 205 yards, 14.6 yards a carry. Kewan Brown added 95 yards, 9.5 yards a carry. Kewan Brown is the one who finally put the game to rest with a 67-yard bolt with a minute and 42 seconds, I think there was left in the game, and he found an opening right in the middle. Great job by the offensive line there. He hit that hole and was gone. Dove into the end zone as they tried to bring him down near the goal line. He wasn't having it to finally put that game out of reach. But it was a game where the offense was just, unless it was Isaac or Kewan with a big gain, there wasn't much. Kewan did have a nice little screen catch from Miller Moss that he turned a 2-yard catch into a 38-yard gain that eventually led to Miller Moss's 9-yard touchdown run. So there's certainly some positives. You love seeing the running game attack and perform the way they did. Offensive line continues to look like they're improving their game. That the return of Travante Sylvester, I think, has had a really positive impact on that offense. Louisville is now 6-1, 7 games in the rearview mirror. Gotta love being 6-1. Should be 7-0, but that's another video, Riley. But here we are after 7 games, and with the exception of the Miami game, the buzzwords in the post game were, we need to clean up, we need to be more efficient. You shouldn't have that with a veteran squad. For their performance in the 38-24 win over Boston College, the offense, you're getting a C+. The Louisville defense in that first quarter did not look like the Louisville defense that we've seen of late. Boston College takes their first series, goes 55 yards on 15 plays, kicks a field goal to take an early 3-0 lead, and they did so taking over 8 minutes off the game clock. Their second drive, after Louisville had used just a minute and change to score their first touchdown and take a 7-3 lead, Boston College comes out, another lengthy, time-consuming drive, this one ending in a touchdown to regain the lead 10-7. Louisville would later regain the lead and never surrender it. The Cardinals did have a couple big turnover on down moments where Boston College was kind of in that sweet spot. They didn't trust their kicker enough, and Louisville was able to stop them twice on a fourth down attempt in, obviously, Louisville territory. Those were big, potentially momentum-changing type moments in the game. The defense also created some turnovers. Great outing by TJ Quinn, led the team with 12 tackles. Caleb Perry, his first career interception, had 11 tackles. D'Angelo Hutchinson, I gave him a helmet sticker. He finished with 9 tackles, third best on the team. Had a couple pass breakups, could have been interceptions. His 6 solo stops were the most of his career. Jordan Garrard gets the interception off a tip ball. Gotta love seeing the big guys up front get interceptions. And then, again, some important 3-and-outs. Boston College was able to score again later on in the game when you thought Louisville was going to put it away, but they couldn't. But still, the Louisville defense continued to rise to the occasion to help Louisville get that victory. Wasn't their best outing of the season, but they still made some key plays when they needed to be made. The Louisville defense, for your play in the win against Boston College, I'm going to dish you out a straight B. Special teams. They've been pretty special for Louisville so far this season, and they continue to be a positive for the Cardinals. The return game, Cardinals couldn't do much. Boston College did a good job with their punt coverage and sending their kickoffs out of the end zone for touchbacks. Louisville basically the same thing. Really good on their punt coverage, not allowing much return game from the Eagles. Field goal, Cooper Ranvier had a 52-yard field goal attempt, clank off the upright, and looked like it had enough leg to go 70 yards. He did hit a 41-yard field goal later in the game to continue a really impressive first year with the Cardinals. But punting, it continues to be a concern. They had 6 punts, averaged 34 yards, some of that because of the roll, but that is an area you want to see that average be closer to 40, if not above 40. So that's an area that Louisville needs to try to improve upon. Or don't have so many 3-and-outs. I like that idea better. For their performance against Boston College special teams, you're getting a B+. So how are we feeling about these Cardinals? You gotta be feeling great. 6-1. You're in the ACC race. You're climbing into the national polls, number 16 in the latest Associated Press poll. Again, you're in the conversation to get to the ACC championship game. Just keep winning, right? And that's earlier in the season, following, might have been the Bowling Green game. which wasn't the prettiest of games. Miller Moss made the comment, just keep picking up wins while continuing to get better. That's what this Louisville team keeps doing, with the exception of the Virginia game, which they handed 14 points away to the Cavaliers. It ended up being a loss. Should have been a win for the Cardinals, but again, I digress. Going on Virginia Tech is probably going to be a little bit harder than initially thought a couple weeks ago when they let their head coach go. Hokies coming off a win over Cal. L&N Stadium is supposed to be a tough place to play. It has not been in most recent years, as the Hokies have struggled with consistency of their own. But the Cardinals, I've got Louisville going 10-2. That was my preseason pick. I had slipped it down to 9-3, and I moved it back to 10-2 following the win at Miami. I'm keeping it at 10-2. You've got 5 games left. And it's hard to say where they might lose. But as Jeff Brom has said multiple times now, any team can win on any given day, especially this year in college football. You look around and there's crazy things happening in college football. Nobody is safe at the top, it seems. Very few, at least. Louisville certainly isn't at the top, so they are continuing to have to fight just about every single game. And going into Virginia Tech, I expect it to be a hard-fought, sometimes frustrating, sometimes exciting, thrilling game for the Cardinals. I do expect them to come out of there with a W. They have to come out of there with a W, right? They're the favorites, double-digit favorites. I'm not sure how much that matters, really. I mean, Louisville was a 25.5-point favorite against Boston College and struggled to win by 14 at home. So maybe we could say Boston College could be another wake-up call for these Cardinals, and we'll see the Cardinals we saw against Miami resurface, a much cleaner, much more efficient group of Cardinals on both sides of the ball. That's my hope. But Louisville has clearly got to be able to figure out, like they did against Miami, come out, start quickly, get ahead, because when Louisville gets ahead on the scoreboard, good things continue to happen. You're going to come out with a W. Once Louisville got ahead of Boston College, you felt a little bit better about where things were going. They never could put them away until Kewan Brown's big run with under 2 minutes to go, but you felt a little bit better. Didn't really feel like Louisville was going to lose that game, but it was just like, so Louisville's got to, again, it's strange to be saying this as you're heading in, to the 8th game of the season. That's where they are. They've got to clean things up. They've got to become more efficient. The defense has got to continue to become a difference maker, even when they struggle at times. And you can't expect perfection all the time, but they continue to stay focused. They continue to fight, even when things aren't going well, on both sides of the ball. That's something that certainly has to continue, and that is certainly one of the great positives and great qualities of this team's identity. It's a no-quit team. I'd like to see this become a team where, hey, we're going to get a lead, and we're going to put them away. So on Saturday, November 1st, 3 o'clock kickoff at L&N Stadium, Cardinals and Hokies. Cardinals may struggle with their double-digit favorite at Virginia Tech, but I think they're going to come away with a W. When you look at that schedule that's left ahead of them, those are all winnable games. You go 11-1, and I like Louisville's chances of being in the ACC championship game. Can they do it? We'll find out, and we'll continue to talk about it. We'll continue to dish out grades as the season continues, as well as the postseason, because you know what? Louisville's bowl eligible. So 5 games remain on Louisville's regular season schedule. As I said, I think there are 5 games Louisville can come out as the winner. We will hike following each one of those games, as you know I will. We'll dish out some grades. We'll talk about the progression of this team as the season continues on. Looking forward to the postseason. What will it entail for these Louisville Cardinals? We'll hike then as well. Have basketball season. It's almost underway. The game Exhibition 1 already in the books. Exhibition 2 coming up, which means we got our first basketball hike coming up. So you want to make sure you're around for that. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you won't miss it. Feel free to like, share, And hit that hype button. I don't even know what that is. Why don't you hit it and see what happens? Appreciate you hanging out with me. Until our next hike, thanks for going hiking with Michael McCammon.